looking everywhere, that's how the story goes. Grab your key.
Welcome to the Zombie Story Zone, where beauty meets horror and passion dances with death. In this haunting epic, The Crimson Throne of the Damned, you'll be taken deep into the heart of Versailles at its peak, a world of royal grandeur, forbidden romance, and unimaginable darkness. Beneath glittering chandeliers and lavish masquerades, nobles indulged in lust, deceit, and desire, unaware that something monstrous stirred beneath the palace crypts. When the undead king awakens, his curse spreads through silk-draped corridors and perfumed gardens, turning beauty into nightmare. Our heroine, Princess Elara, leads a seductive cast. The enchanting Vivienne, the fierce Isolde, the poetic Serafina, the intellectual Faye, and the handsome warriors Jacques, Raoul, and Marc. Together, they fight not just for survival, but for love, redemption, and the soul of the empire itself. Each chapter takes you deeper, from opulent pleasures to creeping dread, from love's ecstasy to undead terror. And when the final twist comes, nothing will prepare you for who the true monster really is. Blood, passion, betrayal. The undead royalty rise again, and their story will consume your heart. Subscribe now to the Zombie Story Zone for cinematic horror storytelling that blends Gothic seduction, romance, and apocalyptic suspense. New episodes weekly. Don't miss a single beat of the undead heart.
Uncover the fight in the Zombie Story Zone. We'll survive the night.
The Crimson Throne of Versailles. Chapter 1. Whispers in the Gilded Halls. The Palace of Versailles glittered like a jewel under the moonlight, its mirrored halls echoing with laughter, music, and the perfume of sun. Chandeliers dripped with crystal fire, courtiers whispered in velvet tones, and beneath the gilded ceilings, desire bloomed like a forbidden rose. Amid this theater of beauty and deceit, 17-year-old Princess Elara of Valmont shone brightest, a vision carved of ivory and flame. Her crimson gown clung to her youthful form, its silk whispering with each graceful step. Emerald eyes, alive with rebellion, hinted that the princess was far more than the delicate ornament her father, the king, believed her to be. Shadowing her every move were her 5 ladies-in-waiting, each a masterpiece of temptation. Vivienne, the red-haired tempest, glowed with wildfire sensuality. Isolde, the dark-haired siren, spoke with eyes that promised ruin. Serafina, all golden curls and grace, carried an angel's charm wrapped in sin. Leora, the raven beauty from the east, held mystery in her every glance. And Faye, the playful auburn sprite, hid her secrets behind teasing laughter and soft, honeyed words. Together, they were the pulse of Versailles, beauty and danger wrapped in satin. Yet the men of court matched them in allure. Captain Raoul, tall and broad, carried the scent of steel and conquest. Lucien, the poet, let his dark curls and haunted eyes speak more than his words. Thierry, the golden nobleman, danced through hearts with a smile. And Marc, the king's cunning advisor, seduced not with touch, but with intellect and power. But Elara's gaze strayed to one who had neither title nor freedom, Jacques, the enslaved stable boy. His tousled brown hair and ember-hued eyes burned with quiet defiance. His muscles, carved by chains and labor, bore the poetry of strength and sorrow. And when she found him one moonlit night, tending her stallion beneath the marble arch, something dangerous stirred. "Milady," he murmured, bowing, "this is no place for royalty." "Then tonight," she whispered, stepping close, "I am no princess." Their eyes met, and the world ceased. Her fingers brushed his arm, awakening something primal and pure. Their brief touch birthed a scandal yet to bloom. Whispers soon fluttered through the palace, of secret meetings, stolen glances, and the princess's daring heart. Behind jeweled fans, her ladies shared knowing smiles. Even the dowager Countess Marguerite, voluptuous and calculating, and Lady Beatrice, silver-haired and sinfully wise, saw opportunity in the girl's rebellion. But as Elara slipped back to her chamber, a strange chill caressed her spine. A flicker of darkness stirred in her mind, the faint echo of a crypt door creaking open. What if Jacques' chains bound more than flesh? What if they hid the first secret of Versailles' crimson curse? The Crimson Throne of Versailles, Chapter 2, Forbidden Embraces, Desire, had become Elara's religion. The more she tried to resist Jacques, the deeper her heart and body fell into his gravity. Their secret glances in crowded halls turned into midnight rendezvous behind jeweled curtains, where passion burned brighter than any chandelier in Versailles. The palace, once her gilded prison, had become their playground of forbidden fire. One rain-drenched night, lightning painted silver across the velvet corridors as Elara slipped into a secluded chamber. Jacques was already there, drenched, breath ragged, eyes aflame. "You shouldn't have come," he whispered, but his trembling hands betrayed him. She stepped closer, her crimson gown whispering across marble, her breath mingling with his. "You're my escape from this golden cage," she confessed before her lips devoured his. Their kiss broke the world. Mirrors caught fragments of their passion, silk against skin, gasps against thunder, the rhythm of youth rebelling against destiny. Jacques' calloused hands roamed her silken body with reverence and hunger, while Elara clung to him as if love itself could defy her crown. Yet beneath his heat lurked something cold, a tremor of darkness that pulsed like a heartbeat not his own. Images haunted him, crypts buried beneath the palace, a crown of bone, and a king who would not stay dead. Meanwhile, in other corners of Versailles, seduction reigned unchecked. Vivienne's fiery heart surrendered to the slave girl Clara, their whispered confessions turning the servants' quarters into a sanctuary of forbidden tenderness. Isolde, ever the temptress, drew Captain Raoul into the armory, where the clash of armor mirrored their fevered bodies. Serafina and Lucien's poetic intimacy bloomed into touch and tremor. Leora and Thierry spun through moonlit gardens, their laughter disguising lust. Even Faye's teasing with Marc had evolved into something far more dangerous, a duel of wit and desire that neither wished to end. But the true architects of intrigue were the mature enchantresses, Countess Marguerite, voluptuous and knowing, who schooled Elara in the language of pleasure, and Lady Beatrice, whose silver-streaked beauty commanded both fear and longing. Marguerite's subtle touches on Jacques were more than instruction, they were challenge. Beatrice, meanwhile, wove her own web around a royal guard, turning lust into leverage. Then came the night of the crypt. Elara and Jacques, drawn by the same unspoken pull, descended into the forbidden catacombs beneath Versailles. Their torchlight flickered over marble coffins and faded sigils. And there, in the shadow of a forgotten sarcophagus, passion conquered fear. Their union was primal, desperate, divine, and as their cries faded, the earth beneath them groaned. From the stone tomb seeped a chill mist, ancient and foul. A distant groan rose from within the darkness. Elara froze. Jacques' heart pounded like thunder. Was it merely the storm above? Or had their love awakened something buried far below the Crimson Throne of Versailles? The Crimson Throne of Versailles, Chapter 3, Shadows Awakening. Horror seeped into Versailles like poison ink bleeding through silk. The palace that once pulsed with laughter and lust now trembled under whispers of decay. It began with a scream. A kitchen maid found lifeless at dawn, only to rise again at dusk, her skin gray and peeling, her eyes hollow, moons of hunger. The courtiers dismissed it as madness, a tale spun by frightened servants. But by nightfall, more shadows stirred. Death, once a distant specter, now walked the gilded halls. Princess Elara felt it before the others, an invisible dread coiling around her heart. Her forbidden lover Jacques grew pale and distant, haunted by dreams of blood and crypts. "Fate chained me here for a reason," he murmured, trembling against her touch. Their embraces, once feverish and sweet, now carried the scent of fear. Each kiss tasted of desperation, each sigh a silent prayer against the dark tide rising around them. Still, amidst the dread, the court's sensual bonds only deepened, as if pleasure itself defied death. Vivienne and her beloved Clara clung to each other in candlelit secrecy, their love drawing another shy slave girl into their passionate orbit. Three souls united against oblivion. Isolde and Captain Raoul, blades at their sides, turned the hunt for the undead into an act of devotion, their post-battle reunions raw with life's urgency. Serafina, once a songbird of Versailles, now played dirges that made Lucienne weep and write verses of dying beauty. Leora, her exotic eyes shimmering with terror, found solace in Thierry's arms, their moonlit trysts now trembling with the fragility of survival. And Faye, ever playful, joined Marc in secret councils of resistance, their strategy entwined with caresses, plotting life and love in the same breath. But the older enchantresses met the horror with cunning fire. Countess Marguerite, Her voluptuous form, armored in courage, led deadly lures through the corridors, seducing wandering corpses toward her waiting dagger with cruel grace. Lady Beatrice, her silver hair glinting in torchlight, extracted forbidden knowledge from a trembling priest, her lips coaxing out secrets no threat could withhold. Then came the ball. Music soared through the Hall of Mirrors. Violins, laughter, champagne, until the first corpse crashed through the doors. A noblewoman's waltz ended in a shriek as the dead tore through satin and flesh. Crystal shattered, blood spattered marble, and the chandeliers flickered in mockery of heaven. Elara and Jacques fled into the rain-soaked stables, clutching each other amid the scent of hay and terror. Their passion reignited, wild, desperate, almost primal, as if love itself could outlast the grave. But when it ended, a terrible stillness fell. Jacques' breath came ragged. His eyes flickered, not brown but deathly pale, shimmering with something inhuman. His lips parted. "Elara," he whispered, voice distant, echoing with a hollow depth. And then, softly, as if recalling a memory not his own, he spoke her name again, not as lover, but as prophecy. Her blood turned to ice, for in that whisper she heard the voice from the crypt beneath the crimson throne of Versailles, and it had spoken her name. The Crimson Throne of Versailles, Chapter 4, Blood in the Mirrors. Versailles had become a palace of screams. The once glorious mirrors of the Hall of Kings now reflected only ruin, splintered glass dripping with blood, chandeliers hanging like skeletal crowns. The perfume of roses was drowned beneath the stench of death. Yet amid the carnage, Princess Elara stood tall, her crimson gown torn but radiant, her jeweled dagger flashing with defiant purpose. Not one more step. She hissed at the encroaching dead, eyes blazing. Around her gathered the beautiful survivors, the glittering remnants of a court that refused to surrender its allure to decay. Vivienne and Clara, bound by love that defied the grave, moved like dancers through the carnage. Their synchronized grace turned slaughter into art, their intimacy fueling each lethal strike. A third slave girl fought beside them, her presence transforming their passion into a network of fierce sisterhood, a sanctuary of touch and trust amid the horror. Isolde and Captain Raoul fought back to back, blades gleaming, breaths ragged. Between each bloody skirmish came fevered kisses, their devotion a balm against despair. His scarred hands cupped her face like armor, while her whispered love became his battle cry. Seraphina's voice rose over the chaos, her golden hair streaked with crimson, her melodies transformed into war hymns. Lucien, inspired and feral, wrote their love into death itself, each fallen zombie another verse of their tragic ballad. Faye and Mark turned seduction into strategy, using charm and cunning to draw the horde into traps. Their wits intertwined as tightly as their hearts, their flirtation now a weapon of survival. But treachery slithered from within. Thierry, the golden nobleman once adored by all, stumbled into the hall, eyes glazed, charm curdled into something monstrous. His smile gleamed with infection. Leora, trembling yet resolute, faced him, the man who had once whispered love beneath the moon. His arms reached for her, not in affection but hunger. Her blade met his chest, piercing his heart. He fell with a sigh, half man, half monster, leaving her tears glittering on her exotic cheeks. The elder enchantresses fought with the fury of goddesses. Countess Marguerite, her bosom heaving beneath torn velvet, lured the undead with deadly seduction, her dagger finding hearts as easily as glances. Lady Beatrice, silver hair unbound, commanded survivors with sultry authority, her every word a blend of wisdom and desire that kept panic at bay. Meanwhile, in the hidden depths below, Elara and Jacques confronted the truth that pulsed like fire between their souls. In the crypt's crimson gloom, ancient sigils burned faintly. Jacques trembled as visions tore through him, the undead king's essence whispering in his veins. During their fevered union, his control shattered, his voice deepened, echoing with two souls. "Elara, release me," it said. Not Jacques' voice, but something older. Terrified, she pulled away to find relics and carvings etched with his fate. Jacques was no mere slave, but a vessel, a living seal binding the undying king of Versailles. When they emerged, clutching relics and revelations, the world above had fallen further into ruin. The horde pressed in from all sides, and among them, one of their own faltered, eyes glassy, lips trembling. A single kiss, tender, unguarded, and fatal, had passed the infection on. As the torches flickered and screams echoed through shattered mirrors, Elara realized the horror had only begun. The Crimson Throne was awakening, and love itself might become the deadliest weapon of all. The Crimson Throne of Versailles, Chapter 5, Hearts of the Damned. The grand throne room of Versailles, once the seat of elegance and envy, had become a fortress of desperation. Gold leaf and silk drapes hung torn and blood-stained, the scent of decay mixing with candle wax and perfume. Through the shattered doors came the echoes of the dead, their moans mingling with the prayers, sobs, and gasps of those still clinging to life. Princess Elara stood at the center of it all, dagger gleaming in one trembling hand, Jacques' blood-streaked arms steadying her. Around them, the last fragments of Versailles' beauty burned like dying stars. Vivienne, Clara, and their circle of enslaved lovers fought with sensual ferocity, every motion of their bodies both survival and defiance. They had turned passion into power, blades and kisses indistinguishable in their rhythm of resistance. Their intertwined devotion became a living flame against the cold tide of undeath. Captain Raoul, scarred but unbroken, stood as Isolde's iron wall. His sword rose and fell in brutal arcs while her voice urged him onward. Each whispered, "I love you," a prayer against oblivion. Serafina, her once golden song now laced with sorrow, knelt beside the body of Lucien, his poetry forever silenced by a zombie's bite. Her music had become mourning, every note a vow of vengeance. Faye and Mark, their minds as sharp as their passion, plotted survival between desperate kisses. Schemes and caresses blended together, intellect and instinct fighting hand in hand to keep the group alive. And in the flickering shadows, the elder enchantresses, Countess Marguerite and Lady Beatrice, sought solace in one another. Their voluptuous forms entwined beneath torn velvet, their unity more than pleasure. It was pact and power, two queens of experience standing shoulder to shoulder against the night. Their bodies, though bruised and burdened, glowed with a fierce maturity that mocked death itself. But the greatest battle was within Elara and Jacques. Each embrace drew her closer to something ancient and terrible. The Undead King's whispers coiled through Jacques' veins, his voice deepening until it seemed two men spoke from one throat. "Your soul belongs to me." The phantom hissed through his lips, his hands trembling between love and damnation. Desperation drove them to the crypt's core. Torches flared as they descended into the Vault of Kings. The air pulsed with the heartbeat of centuries, the sarcophagus before them glowing faintly red. But when Elara raised her blade to break the seal, the palace above erupted in screams. A tidal wave of the undead stormed down the corridors, an ocean of rot and hunger crashing toward them. Jacques turned, shielding her with his body as the dead poured in. Their lips met in one final desperate kiss. Love and horror bound together, passion burning brighter than the darkness around them. Then, a scream. Countess Marguerite stumbled toward them, her jeweled dagger slick with blackened blood. Her breath rattled, her eyes clouded white. She clutched Elara's wrist with trembling fingers and whispered, voice thick with dread, open quote, "It's not him, it's you." Close quote, her body went limp, her eyes turned milky and still. And in that chilling instant, Elara felt the truth stir beneath her skin. Something inside her had begun to awaken. Something the Crimson Throne of Versailles had been waiting centuries to reclaim. The Crimson Throne of Versailles, Chapter 6, The Vessel's Claim. The air in the royal crypt was thick with ash and death, torches sputtering as the survivors gathered for their final stand. The marble vaults that once guarded the glory of kings now echoed with the groans of the undead, the palace above collapsing into ruin. Among the remnants of Versailles' beauty stood the last of its living souls. Elara, Jacques, Vivienne, Isolde, Serafina, Faye, Raoul, Mark, and the fading form of Marguerite, her once commanding grace dimmed but not extinguished. Around them, the crypt became a grotesque ballroom of the damned. Torn silks fluttered like ghosts as the undead shuffled in mock parody of courtly grace. Amid horror, seduction endured, the final rebellion of beauty against rot. Vivienne, Clara, and their lovers fought in unison, each movement a blend of dance and slaughter, their passion a torch in the abyss. Isolde clung to Raoul, their love fierce and primal, each embrace a vow to die together if the world demanded it. Faye and Mark, blood-spattered but smiling, turned strategy into foreplay, their kisses quick, their eyes locked, their plans sharp as blades. Then came Lady Beatrice. Her silver hair gleamed in the firelight as she stepped forward, unafraid. "Let them feast on beauty one last time," she said, lips curving in a defiant smile. Her mature allure, radiant even in ruin, drew the horde like moths to flame. As they swarmed her, her torch ignited the oil-soaked walls, a fiery sacrifice that turned horror into brief, glorious light. At the crypt's heart, Elara and Jacques faced the ancient sarcophagus, the source of the curse, the Crimson Throne's true master. "If we end this, we end us," Jacques murmured, trembling. She touched his face, tears glimmering like jewels. "Then let us end together." Their lips met in desperate ecstasy, bodies fusing in one last defiant act of love, a love that broke the veil between life and death. But as their passion peaked, Jacques convulsed violently. His eyes flared gold, his voice deepened into something monstrous. "I was the lure, princess," the voice hissed through his mouth, echoing through the crypt. "Your soul was always mine." The undead king surged within him, towering, spectral, crowned in flame. The survivors attacked, Raoul's sword striking true but shattering on the spectral crown, Faye hurling burning oil, Seraphina's final song piercing the veil between worlds. Her voice shattered the darkness, and as the echoes died, so did she, her beauty immortalized in silence. Elara's dagger, guided by love and fury, plunged into Jacques' chest. For a heartbeat, time froze. His human eyes returned, filled with sorrow. "Forgive me?" he whispered as the crimson light faded from his veins. The sarcophagus sealed with a thunderous crack, the air turning still. The curse had been bound again, but not destroyed. The survivors, broken and bloodied, climbed from the crypt as dawn burned the horizon. Amid the ruins, Elara ascended the shattered throne, her gown soaked in blood and tears. For a moment, peace settled, fragile, golden, unreal. But as sunlight touched the grand mirrors, a reflection caught her eye. Her pupils glowed faintly crimson, pulsing like a heartbeat not her own. She smiled, faint, almost serene. The throne's curse had chosen anew, and the Crimson Queen of Versailles had just begun her reign. Epilogue: Soul's Crimson Betrayal. Versailles stood in ruins, its golden corridors now bathed in the crimson glow of rebirth. From the ashes of horror, love tried to bloom again. Elara and Jacques, the last symbols of hope, dreaming of a world where passion conquered death. Around them, the surviving beauties, Vivienne, Isolde, Seraphina, and Faye, found solace in the arms of their loyal slave girls. Their elegance now armor against despair. Raoul and Marc, the handsome sentinels of this broken empire, stood guard as Marguerite, the voluptuous temptress queen, ruled with commanding allure. But beneath the surface of desire lurked damnation. Jacques had never been the true vessel. Elara was. The undead king's soul had entered her long ago, hidden behind her beauty and love. As she ascended the crimson throne, her reflection betrayed her, eyes glowing with unholy hunger. The plague had not ended. It had evolved. Versailles would never die, it would feast. Subscribe to the Zombie Story Zone for the next descent into undead desire, forbidden love, and royal horror.